Hi, this is Charlie, and welcome to this week's Friday's live trading video. We are looking at the across the markets at the moment. This is the euro dollar. You'd look at this on a 5-minute chart, you'd say, "Oh, that's lovely. I want to buy that on a pullback," and that's what I was just looking at doing. But I just don't have enough factors lined up. I don't have my momentum lined up on the hourly charts. It's hit resistance on the 4-hour charts, and it could turn around on a pullback down here and then go higher again, of course. But it's just not. I don't have enough boxes ticked on the checklist, so to speak, to warrant it. I'd be pushing it to take it, and if it happened and it worked, fine. But I want to be a little bit stricter than that. So yes, it looks nice on the 5-minute chart, but if we go out to the hourly charts, you see this resistance, this dotted blue line. It's my hourly 100, and obviously the prior highs. And the 4-hour chart, we're still. It probably won't look the same on here, but let's have a look. Yeah, it doesn't look the same on here on the 4-hour 20 moving average. So I'm going to have to pass on it. The only thing it had going for it is it did have what we call an extreme up here. But normally, even if I got an extreme play, I'd like to see hourly momentum in play, which we don't have. So at the moment, I'm going to sit back. Now we have got cable news out this morning. I say cable news, UK news, which will affect cable. So that's at 9:30. So we may just be having to wait a little bit this week, to see what happens with that. So for now, I'm just going to take a step back. I was close to potentially taking a trade on this euro dollar. But actually, sometimes you have to say, well, hold on a second, does it tick enough of the boxes? And unfortunately, it doesn't. Even though, yes, it's had a nice run here and a nice little pullback, and yes, it could go higher again, obviously, but there's not enough. When I go out to the higher time frames, lack of momentum, downward sloping hourly 20, 4-hour 20, it's hit the hourly 100 moving average up there as a resistance zone, and the prior highs. I can't quite justify it. So anyway, we'll press pause for now and we'll see what happens. Okay, just back on the video here. Interestingly, as you can see, the euro has pulled back to its little 8 AM pivot and is bouncing at the moment. So you could look at it and say, see, you could have taken that trade. Well, yeah, of course. And if it comes up, certainly if it gets up, at least back up to, well, no, it'd need to come up to what I was talking about, which is 118.04 as being the target. But I was just talking to the guys in the trading room here that if I'd have taken this trade and it had failed, and what I do is I like to ask myself key questions like, okay, if I take this trade and it fails, will I kick myself for taking the trade? And the answer to this one this morning was yes. I knew that we'd hit. Let's see if I get rid of this and bring up an hourly chart. We'd hit the double top from over here pretty much. We'd hit this green line, which is an hourly 100 moving average over there. If I bring up a 4-hour chart, the 4-hour 20 is facing down, and so usually if I like my moving averages to all be sort of supporting price, not facing the opposite direction. So there were just too many factors which were just giving that little bit of a doubt there, and as with regards to the trade, it wasn't enough check boxes there to say yes, you can justify this trade. And so although we can look at this after the fact and say, yeah, it went up, yeah, it's good, nice to see that it went up, but it's not enough, unfortunately today, because of the checklist. So, and that's one thing that you can always do, is just ask yourself key questions like that, because sometimes it just arrests you from taking a trade which you might have otherwise taken, which afterwards you sometimes might regret of taking that trade and thought, oh, that was a needless trade. Now, as it turns out, this euro is coming up beautifully off of here this morning, but hopefully you can see why I have my rationale as to why I didn't want to take that trade this morning. But anyway, we'll see how the euro gets on as we go through the morning, and I'm going to be watching, like I said, we've got UK news coming out at 9:30. Okay, just back, and as we can see, in fact, in the end, the euro has come up and it has hit this. This purple line would have been the target, or one of the targets, the first target, and it has actually managed to do it. But like I said earlier on, sometimes you can't quite justify a trade, and I'm trying to be that little bit stricter, and on some trades which are, like I said, don't don't tick enough boxes. Now, you never get a trade which ticks every box, which is the perfect setup necessarily. There's always something that you can see is not quite right, but you need like a 7 out of 10. And so this one didn't quite get there, like I said, because of the resistance that it was sitting against and just reacted against. But as it's turned out, it's worked out okay. But again, you have to ask yourself that question. If I had taken this trade and it had failed, would I have kicked myself? And the answer to that one would have been, yeah, it wouldn't have. I could have downsized, but I don't want to have to downsize too much. So yeah, I think it was still the right decision to come out. Now, could there be a trade on the euro at some point, and a secondary opportunity, if you will? There could be. Let's have a look at that 4-hour chart, but nothing's overly changed on the 4-hour chart with this 4-hour 20 still at the moment. So I'm not too fussed about it. We've just been looking at the dollar yen. That's just coming off a little bit. Let's have a look at the 4-hour chart of that. Okay, it's onto the 4-hour 20 at the moment. That's been tested already. So we're going to keep an eye on the dollar yen going into the end of this hour. And obviously on the pound, we've still got the potential with the news coming out that the pound I have a view on, and there could still be a trade on the pound at some point today. So I'll be keeping my eye on that one as well. But the news isn't coming out till 9:30. So I'll press pause for now. Okay, so it's now just after 9:30, and we've had some news come out on the pound. Excuse me, on the pound, and we can see that the pound's coming off a little bit. There's a potential for it to come a bit lower down here this morning. So I'm just having to wait for this bar to close. So we're at 9:32 at the moment. So we've got a few minutes to go. We'll see how we close. The momentum is negative now across the board, and so we'll put a short in to see if we can run it down to the daily S1 pivot, which is down at, let's call it 70. We're currently at 83. So what I need is a close here, and then a little bit of a blip up just to get a slightly better entry, which very often does happen, but not always. But anyway, if we can get that little blip up, then I'll short it. Okay, right, so we're just coming to the close of this bar, so I'm just going to be looking to see where my lower band comes in, see if I can get a slightly better entry, but don't want to be too fussy. So if we can get a little blip up to around about 90 or so, then I'll put a short in. And so with the target down at, like I said, about 70, so it won't be from a risk reward perspective. If I can get 90, then I'll put a stop up here just above the 5-minute bands. So let's see if we can get this entry here. So I'll get a couple of units in. If I can see 90 here on the bid, there we go. Right, 1 unit short at 90. Oh, 89.6 on the second unit. So I've got 2 units in on that. Now it could go a little bit higher. So I'm going to put my stops in at 34.10. And we shall see if it can run down to that 133.70 area, which is the daily S1, which couples up with a load of congestion around the lows. So I've put those 2 units in, and I don't think I'll bother putting any more units in here, but it's a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target today, so not much more than that. Let's bring up the orders though. Let's get those done. There we go. So I'm just going to put the stop in at 134.10, and then there's the other one. I often don't do this, but it's not been a lot going on this morning, so you might as well see me putting the orders in. I could put the target prices in as well. Actually, 133.70. And so anyway, that's where we're at. So we've got the daily S1 pivots down at 69.8. I've put an order in at 70. I might have to adjust that slightly to 70.5 because of taking spreads into account. It might hit that pivot and might not actually hit my limit order. So I may have to just adjust that slightly. But we'll see now if cable can come down there. It could come down further. than that. But for now, let's just see if it can have that little run down to that pivot. I know it's only a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, so it's not a great risk to reward ratio at all today on that. But I'm not going to be trying to run it. I don't want to try and run it for that much further. So let's just see if it can work its way down there. So I'll press pause just while we're waiting. Okay, just back here, and we're still watching this this pound dollar. Remember, we've shorted it up here at 133.90, stops up at 134.10, and we're still targeting 133.70 area. Now, I'm about to go to the gym. It's 5 to 10, so it's possible that it hits the target while I'm out, or maybe it doesn't, and it starts working its way back up. We'll have to see. But anyway, for now, we'll just see. We've got the momentums to the downside. It's at the moment, that's the path of least resistance. Let's see if it can just have that little bit of a push down towards that. If I actually bring up the hourly charts, you can then see we've got where I'm targeting that 70 zone there. There's a whole cluster of price action back through all of that, and this is where the daily S1 is as well, you see. So I like that because it is in with all this cluster. It's not the absolute low, and I could target that, but that's not what I'm targeting today. I'm just targeting this, and so maybe it's because I have a vested interest, because I have a bigger picture view of the pound actually going back up again at some point. So that's probably why I'm just targeting that level. But anyway, for now, we just got to wait and see if the pound can get down to that sort of zone. So I'll put it back to a 5-minute chart now. It's sort of holding here, and we'll see if it can have that break. But what I'm going to do is I'll leave this ticket up. Not that I'm going to be placing any more trades on the pound here at the moment. And I'm pretty much going to head off to the gym, and we'll see what happens when I get back. Okay, just back, and I was just about to leave and just get myself the gym gear on and stuff. And just while I've been doing that, I can see the cable's had that little plunge and it's got down to that target. So let's bring up the trades. I can't show you them all because I am in some other trades. I can't show you the whole account, should I say, because I'm in other trades at the moment. Sorry, just get the screenshot right. Here we go. Okay, so here's the two entries, that one at 90.7 and the other one at 89.6. Remember, I didn't quite get that execution right at 90, but the average would have been 90. And I've got two fills down here. 70.5 and 71. I put one of the orders in at 71. And I told the guys in the room here at 70.5, and I forgot to adjust this one back down to 70.5. But anyway, needless to say, so we've got 150, 288, is that right? 288 pounds today, so on that little trade there this morning. So in the end, it's worked out. We missed a trade on the euro dollar this morning, but we've got something there. Now, this could go lower, but like I said, this is all I was looking for down to there. I have a bigger picture view, still looking for the pound to work its way up, but maybe that'll take into next week. Maybe it won't happen at all. But anyway, nevertheless, for now, we've come down to that low, and that's it. So I'll finish today's video on that, and see you next Wednesday for Wednesday's video next week.